him in a video show. Because if you guys could have come by when he was living here, he'd go out on the balcony. He said he sized people up by their looks. Now, if he likes your looks, he lets you in. He let a lot of people in. But Art said the ones he didn't like the looks of, he'd have to start shaking his fist at them, say, "Move along, small change." People said he didn't get moving, he'd throw rocks, he'd throw a fit up here.
Oh
but,
my God.
He liked to walk ladies through here. And once in a while, I'll get a lady. They tell me if the old man really likes your looks, he's liable to ask you to spend the night. And if that happened, he called this the woman's room. Now, this is basically a guest room, but I think he called this the woman's room as the color. At one time, this whole room was plastered. And that's what's kind of interesting. He built a lot of his and her stuff throughout the property, but the man was never known to be married to have children.
Wow.
The longer I'm here, the more I'm here. I don't know if you can find people brave enough to live in a place like that.
That is so
But take your call. It's a good nickname. He always makes stuff. But that napkin, that's actually from the 1939 Golden Gate Exposition in San Francisco. There's stories he worked as a cook at this, which he's paid. But people have researched him. Art was also known as a long-distance swimmer. There's documentation in the 20s he swam one of the Great Lakes from the United States to Canada. And there's stuff in here, postmarked from the 40s up to the 80s when they put him in the rest home. But it looks like people liked him. You can still see greeting cards and things.
Wow.
But you know, for me, it's stuff I remember doing. Saving pull tabs. And I'm thinking, when he's doing that, he had to be in his 60s and 70s anyway. And this is even older. This is what's left of a radio, maybe from the 30s or 40s. It's an RCA radio he'd salvaged for a cabinet. The shelving's actually made from a real estate sign. But these are his books. This is what's left of his stuff. Now, we come in here in '99. The room was ransacked. We straightened it up. But there's stories he had a bed in here. That disappeared by the time we'd come. But this is what's left of his stuff.
Oh, okay. Wow.
And wiring.
Now, you guys don't have to go in here unless you want to. This is how all the rooms used to look. This room we have it clean. This is his washroom. Now, there's a couple old washing machines in there. Right behind this wall here is a gas-fired water heater plugged in. So he was actually hooked up to the county gas, electricity, and water. But it's the longer I'm here, I think he may have built the place before there's many building inspectors around.
Oh, I would bet.
Because you think one of them would have been in here, they would have had a heart attack.
Oh, hell yeah.
The washroom.
There's a couple old washing machines.
But that's what
That's what they all look like. Actually, where all that gray plaster work is, you can see out to the street through that room. We had to do 10% of the floor of the balconies. This room was even in worse shape than this room.
So, okay, so you basically straightened that up and cleaned that.
Yeah, and they did a lot of work, like with the gray plaster work, structural work on the walls and the floor.
But why would he not have?
Well, see, it was abandoned from '89 till '99.
Yeah.
It was water was taking it apart. If it wasn't constantly worked on when he was here, it was just falling apart.
Oh, okay.
Wow. But now, if you guys watch your head here, I'll take you up the stairway. Now, the stairway in itself is kind of interesting. You would actually call this the California cooler. Art claimed this stairway stayed 50 degrees. This was his refrigerator. And you know, there's pictures he keep his milk, butter, and cheese sitting on the shelf here. I'm glad that's no longer here, because that stuff up there, that's actually his stuff. He canned that off the fruit trees in the 80s. And I'm glad he didn't knock that, the earthquake didn't knock that stuff off. I think we'd have been in big trouble.
it probably would have blown up.
I know, and up here's applesauce, ketchup, garlic,
Oh,
and
my
things.
gosh.
But that was actually his refrigerator.
Oh, wow, because it's cold right
Now
now.
back here, if you watch your step.
California cooler.
I'll show you a little 4-minute video.
Still there, dude.
Yeah, just watch your step. You guys just watch your step. There's a TV.
Sure.
But that was his refrigerator, if you guys didn't hear me. That's his
Yeah.
stuff still in here.
Boy,
But just watch your step. The TV's up here in the corner. I'll show you a little video.
sit down.
Okay.
Now this room he called the boar's nest. It originally had a flat roof. His roof was concrete. His concrete roof collapsed in the 80s. When Art lived here, the roof fell in. We come here in '99, there's no roof. This room was exposed. When it rained, it'd wash out the place. So we did this a couple years ago. But in pictures, this was his dining room. He had a big dining room table here. His ceiling was finished. He also had 2 big abalone arches he used by the dining room. You guys are in the living room, complete with a homemade fireplace, you notice there. And it's a homemade gas-fired fireplace. He run a natural gas line to an oven burner. Now this video, this is from a show called Real People. It's from 1977, and he's 81 years old.
Or perhaps I should say reconditioned material, or rather
What it is junk. Halfway up the coast of California, in a small town called Cambria Pines, there are a lot of expensive homes built out of mahogany and marble. And then there's Art Beale's place, built out of leftovers. Most of the people who moved here wanted a view of the ocean. Instead, some of them got a view of Art Beale's place. Art started hand building his home 51 years ago and still isn't finished. Art's unfinished home may be his castle, but to some of his neighbors, it's a complete mess.
It still is exactly what it started out to be, just a bunch of garbage and junk.
Welcome to Nitt Witt Ridge. Art's friends nicknamed his San Simeon Nitt Witt Ridge, and they nicknamed his 81-year-old bachelor Tinkerpaw.
The reason they call me Tinkerpaw, I tinker with my paws. I started this in 1928. There was nothing here. The more junk I could collect, keep building up, building up. Most of this lumber came right out of the ocean. All this stuff was done with idiot sticks, pick and shovel. And the only help I had was me, myself, and I, the three of us. Like, how did you do that? I said, well, I just take a little baking powder here, and then I go get some flour over here. Baking powder is cement, and flour is sand. But I never realized that I could do this, or could do it. I didn't know more about Pink did about wearing a rubber shirt on a rainy day. Yeah.
The ecologists in this area are making a champion of him.
And I'm classified as a little bit TH off upstairs in the head. And I put a lot of crazy stuff here and there.
But some of Art's ideas may not be so crazy. On the wall, he has hung his and hers toilet seats, which he found in the dump, because he thought they were the perfect picture frames for movie stars.
So a lot of my idols here is old Ken Maynard, the first cowpoke in the silent days. There's three of us live here, and I live with two ladies, Mother Earth and Dame Nature. Well, this is my refueling station, where I take care of the master. And all this stuff in here is all salvage. Somewhere along my life trail I picked it up. That stove there is parts of 3 different stoves. And then I even pickle my North Beach perfume. That's garlic. You put it in vinegar and pickle, and then, boy, is that delicious. You see, an apple a day keeps a doctor away, but an onion and a garlic a day keeps everyone away. Only a fool laughs at their own jokes.
Ridge is nothing but a pile of junk.
It's jealousy. Ignorant, envious jealousy.
I feel very sorry for the people that live on either side of it, on top of it, or underneath it.
His home is a true piece of folk art, and we'd like to see it preserved.
It was built out of junk, and it still is a piece of junk.
And I found such a nut, and this such an eyesore. What the hell, Madam Rich Bitch and Dr. Stupid take it up here and silk stocking rolling money bag thing? What did they move in here for?
Well, I think
What?
People do think he's crazy, but I think he's pretty smart. He's like a fox. He's nothing but a bad builder.
Well, everyone to their own liking, as the old gal said when you kissed the bull.
Art has no wife, no children, no family. And aside from his home, his one other love is the poetry that he writes. At the end of each day, now that he's reaching the end of his days, Art sits down and reads one aloud to himself and to the ocean.
I'm lost without him, and I can't see with him, I can't see without him. Damn good man, the shape of him. So there's one poem here. The name is Give Me a Heart. Give me a heart.
I lost that. I'm having a copy made. But he's actually going to recite a love poem. He wrote love poetry. There's a book of his love poems they published in the 80s in the local library. But what's really kind of funny, to this day the town's still divided. They either like the place or they don't like it much at all. It hasn't changed much since '77. But if you guys watch your step, I'll show you some more stuff out here.